Educational Communications and this station present Environmental Directions with Nancy Pearlman. On this series, we explore the effects of human influence on the Earth's ecosystems and discuss solutions to environmental problems which affect the quality of life on this planet. Environmental Directions gives you the kind of information you need to help you participate in decisions impacting your community, the nation, and the world. Now, here's your host, Nancy Pearlman.
Hello, my guest is Christopher Banas. He is co-founder and treasurer of Natural Dividends. He was formerly owner of Mountaintop Financial Consulting. He was a financial analyst at Thule, an account analyst at Melissa and Doug, served as an equity trader with WTS Trading Group, and was a financial planner and stockbroker with MetLife and Northwestern Mutual. Welcome. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you for having me here.
You come from the financial world. You worked in it, but yet you found a lot of toxicity in corporate America. And so you and your partner, Jonathan Humphrey, formed a nonprofit organization to work on the environment, to work on both coasts. You're here in Santa Monica. He's back east. Why did you feel it was necessary to create another nonprofit organization to work on the environment?
It's a good question. Both me and John felt our skills weren't being utilized in the corporate world. We felt we could add much more value to society and humanity to start a nonprofit, and the environment is something that both of us care deeply about. We spend a lot of time in it, spent a lot of time traveling to national parks and places, and just felt very disheartened at what was happening, going back and seeing them being destroyed. We also felt that the message from many nonprofits or just green movements is sometimes negative. It makes the individual feel like they're that, oh, I can't stop eating meat, I must be bad, or oh, I can't stop buying plastic, I must be bad, or I drove to work this week, I'm bad. And we want to present a more positive message and start a positive movement around the environment.
But you yourself went vegan. You became a minimalist. You tried to go plastic-free. You are trying to change your own lifestyle.
Correct, yeah, and I did a lot of that to lead by example. I just tested things, and I was like, let me try going plant-based, and I actually really like it, so I stuck with it. I won't speak for John. He's done a lot of things in his life, too, the same with going minimalist, and that was another thing I tried, which was just selling everything. Let me sell my belongings. Not all of them. I didn't become, a hermit, but just to get rid of the unnecessary clutter. You don't need so many pieces of clothes. You don't need so many trinkets that you're not using. And I found it to be much more freeing. I almost felt like I had more mental space after doing that. And it's something that I was like, I can't go out and preach something without living by example.
Please explain the name of your organization. Why did you choose Natural Dividends?
Yeah, so Natural Dividends was an idea that I had come up with. The idea just came to me because I remember I was sitting down thinking, what are the two things I love the most, which was nature, and I was working in finance, and poof, Natural Dividends came right into my head, and our mission, increase nature's share. So maybe from physics class a long time ago, there's Newton's 3 laws of physics, and one of them is every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And where Natural Dividends comes from is if we give back to nature, if we give more back to nature, if it's cleaning up the beach, driving a little bit less, anything that has net positive benefit towards nature, it will give more back to us.
I have always enjoyed the mountains, the desert, natural areas. I've visited most of the national parks. I've gone camping, backpacking, hiking, walking in nature. You discovered that by going out there and appreciating nature, you needed to do more to inspire others to care for that nature. How do we do it when many people can't go backpacking or hiking into the wild?
It is difficult for some individuals to get out there, and then sometimes in our cities it's more concrete than it is nature. But luckily here in California we have the beach, and there are some beautiful parks and some mountains close by, and it's just inspiring individuals to get out, even if it's just for a local walk around their neighborhood, to get outside and look at the sun smell the air, listen to the birds outside, open the window, and it's really about a community. It starts locally and getting your community excited about cleaning up their space, building an area for people to enjoy nature and to feel its presence and to look at trees and flowers and to watch the wildlife. We get a little desensitized to things. Being in such an urban environment here in Los Angeles, we can get desensitized to it and only view maybe wildlife as the pests, almost like just the few birds or the few rodents that are around, and not notice that there are beautiful birds, there are beautiful creatures as well.
Your nonprofit organization, Natural Dividends, works with other nonprofit organizations such as Heal the Bay and their Adopt a Beach program. So you worked on 3 cleanups of the beaches. Describe what that entails.
We're working with Heal the Bay on 3 beach cleanups, and we've been going out and we've done a different section of the beaches here in Santa Monica each weekend to clean it up and to organize with volunteers. We've picked up a lot of trash. It's definitely work to pick up trash, and what I've found through my work there is sometimes it's better to promote less trash in the neighborhood so that it doesn't flow to the beach, because that's part of it, is where it's going through our storm drains. And since I live close to the beach in Santa Monica, I've really gotten to experience seeing after a rainstorm how much trash actually flows out through the storm drain system and then right back onto the coast. And then I realized maybe if we prevent the trash from going through the storm drain, less of it'll reach the beach.
I think it's good that there are volunteers willing to go out to pick up other people's trash and to make these areas cleaner, healthier, both for human enjoyment and for the wildlife in the area. And I have to pick up trash on my corner at my house every single day. But I really am bothered that we who care about the environment have to do that. I remember as a child that there was a massive campaign to make America beautiful, to stop littering, not to create trash. I haven't seen that kind of program for a long time. Do we need more education to try and get people to not litter, and or do we need more public trash cans so that they can put the litter someplace properly?
Well, there's definitely a lot of public trash cans on the beach, and I've posted on social media trash next to the can, not in it, and it's like, how come it couldn't make it in the can? We need is positive awareness of the message. A lot of the messaging that people may see comes off negative, so then the individual who isn't as inspired as you and me then doesn't want to get inspired because they just feel like they're the problem. Or one person may feel that their actions don't make a contribution. And at Natural Dividends, we started this movement called Negative Net Hiking, which is every time you go out, just take a little bit back with you so you have a negative net impact on where you were. And if everybody does one little part, then it almost will snowball into a bigger momentum and bigger movement. We won't need to do so many beach cleanups. There'll be less trash there.
Hikers that have gone out with traditional hiking groups, such as the Sierra Club, are always taught to bring back what you take in, not to litter, not to leave. And yet now that hiking trails, public areas are so accessible to people who aren't part of those organizations, they're not getting that message that they need to carry out what they take in. Can we change that situation?
Yeah, that's part of our work at Natural Dividends, is to reframe the messaging. That was what John and I would see and feel so disheartened about, is that there are so many people now, and it's wonderful that more people are going out and seeing nature. I think the internet has shown people there's a lot of beauty out there that they were missing out on, so they flocked to certain areas, but they treat it as if they would treat maybe their anything, and they're leaving graffiti and a lot of trash, and there's not a message about respect for nature. Rather, it's being looked at as maybe one-time use. Oh, I came, I saw, boom, I'm out. Or from a distance it may look beautiful, but then when you get close you can see the graffiti on the trees, the trampled areas off trail. It's lost a little bit of that, as you were saying, where the hikers had a respect. It's lost that. We're working to create a more positive message around education towards respect for nature.
Let's go back to your experience, because you basically have been involved in the financial world as a financial planner, stockbroker, equity trader, accountant analyst, financial analyst, doing financial consulting. The major financial institutions, the large corporations, seem to invest their money in destructive activity. They're supporting hydroelectric dams. They're supporting oil drilling. They're supporting all sorts of activities that are bad for the environment. Will we see a change in corporate America so that they are more focused on preserving and protecting our environment?
That's one reason why I left corporate America, was that it just wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Maybe it wasn't what I pictured as a child when I got there, that this was going to be my vision of being a corporate titan, and I was just really upset. Personally, my soul, everything was just upset, and I just couldn't do it any longer, and that's why I exited to start the nonprofit. I think until the corporations are financially on the line, then things won't change. Individuals have a really large impact on that by changing the way they purchase, because then the corporations will have to adapt to that if individuals stop supporting certain things. But I think until they're financially on the line, unfortunately, it might be still business as usual. But us as people can band together and almost make them change with our own actions.
It's great that you're out there doing cleanups, that you're inspiring people to enjoy nature, but you have a financial background. Wouldn't it be valuable for you to try and form some council or institution to engage the financial institutions in environmental programs and to be supportive of environmental organizations?
Yeah, so my financial background, it's been very beneficial to starting and running the company. It's helped save me, let's say, the learning curve of how to manage a business. Working with these large financial institutions, sometimes it can be tricky. As we grow, we will probably continue to work with them, but there could be the conflict of interest that maybe isn't seen on the front end, which is a lot of these organizations are funded or receive a lot of funding from companies that aren't supportive of the environment, and that's something at Natural Dividends. One of our principles is we don't want bought passion, so we don't want individuals to come on, and we don't want to work with companies just because we received money and then all of a sudden, oh, we support it, now we're passionate about it. We don't want any bought passion. Our voice and our vote and our mission won't be bought.
I am always bothered when I watch ads on TV of car companies and others who are in beautiful natural areas in our parks, and yet they don't give them money to set aside new lands as parks to help restore and maintain our parks, and yet they use our parks because people do love to see nature. Can we change the advertising world?
That's also a tricky one, is how to change advertising, and maybe these national parks charge fees for them to come in, that they have to pay, improve the area. It is a little bit of a contradiction when these companies are promoting one thing and then on the back end they're doing something else. It may be until the consumer speaks out very loudly and raises their voice that they will probably continue to have deceitful messaging.
Consumers, though, rarely communicate to the large corporations. Fast food is so common in America, and yet the fast food chains are taking forever to switch from plastic containers and implements to biodegradable, recycled products. Consumers still go and buy from them. Isn't there some corporate entity that's promoting these companies to make faster changes?
For changing that, it's a process of business, and I remember working in corporate that they just want the cheapest thing at the best cost, at the fastest delivery, and based on the regulations and rules that are currently set, changing policy can be very difficult. The most effective solution maybe would be for someone to come up with a product that fixes both the environmental destruction issue and the corporation's pocket, because going the other route of trying to change the policy or the leadership behind the corporation will be a much longer battle.
We certainly have a long way to go to get the changes necessary so that our corporate world is backing environmental improvements, helping us make a better quality environment. I want to thank you very much for your work in trying to clean up our environment, to preserve and protect our environment. Thank you for being my guest.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you for reaching out, thinking of us, and having me on the show.
I have been speaking with Christopher Banas, who is co-founder and treasurer of Natural Dividends. I'm Nancy Pearlman. Thank you very much for joining us, and do tune in again next week.
If you would like free information about these environmental issues, go to www.ecoprojects.org or call 310-559-9160. Environmental Directions with your host, Nancy Pearlman, is a community affairs program of the nonprofit organization Educational Communications and this station.